So what does success look like for you?
Man, success, I guess, like, is defined by like the effort that I put into something, but also like if I can see myself from a point A to point B. So anything that affords me a little bit more time to give back to things or to do things that I really want to do, at that point I feel like I'm being successful.
Yeah.
That can transcend into almost any aspect of your life. So I would definitely say if I got the time to, if I find a way to do something that gives me more time to feedback in the other parts of my life, at that point I'm successful.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy back again with another episode of Big Boss Talk, the podcast. Listen, it's another great episode. We coming with another great guest, top tier as always. Everybody that you see on this podcast, you better recognize and know that they are top tier and are great at what they do. You know what I'm saying? Whether they 5-10 years in, just know that these guys have been putting it down. Really just got a lot to offer, and I feel like obviously if you listening, taking part of this episode or watching, this guest, we're gonna get a lot from this guest. We're gonna learn a lot, and I think it could transcend across everybody. Everybody can kind of relate to a little bit, to the most part. But just, man, I'm super excited about this guest, and just glad I was able to get him on, and just really talk to him. So let me introduce who I got. All right, so I got Trevor Prioleau, age 27, career job. He's a solutions architect, founder / digital creator of Prodigy Productions. He went to the University of South Carolina, so this is a common theme. We got all the Gamecocks on here. Bachelors of Business Administration, Finance and Management Science, and GSCOM. Directed study in psychology. So how many years in the profession? So we got 8 years in finance / business, 6 years with Prodigy. So we got close to a decade on his. Almost close to a decade on his career. Like, I don't know if he ever sat down and thought about it, like, dang, I'm about to be, 10 years in the game. That time start adding up quick. But listen, say what's up to the podcast, Trevor.
What's up, Big Boss Talk?
What's going on, man? We over here kicking it, chilling. But it wouldn't be Big Boss Talk if we didn't do either the two truths or the lie or the embarrassing moment. But we gonna let you tell the guest what you plan on doing, because I think Trevor said he want to do his most embarrassing moment. So I can't wait to hear this. Let's hear
it. So most embarrassing moment, I'll probably say is one of the funniest and embarrassing ones at the same time. So when I was younger, I really wanted to be a barber.
Yeah.
So I was determined. I was like, okay, I'm about to learn how to cut hair and all this other stuff. So I was young, and I went in my mom's and dad bathroom, took my mom's eyebrow archer, messing with it like on my hairline and stuff like that. And I didn't know what was going on at the time. Like the mirror was like kind of foggy or whatever the case is. And then by the time I wiped my hand across the mirror, I saw like a big bald spot like right here, and then my eyebrows are gone. So I'm trying to like hide it for the rest of the day from her. And then I got up from a nap. And then she ended up taking me to the barbershop to basically get my hair bald. And by the time I got in the car, she was like, something look different about you. And she like, boy, you shave off your eyebrow too? And like, that's when she noticed the eyebrows was going. I still had to go to school. So that's probably my most embarrassing moment in my life.
My boy messed up his whole head and cut his eyebrow off, man. I'm glad you recovered though. You know what I'm saying? As far as with the eyebrow, we want you to be out here like Soldier Boy, Soldier getting little cuts and stuff. You gotta be careful, man. But that's pretty funny, man. I ain't never. That's one thing I will not play with is my own head. Like, what I'm saying? If I start to go back, hairline start getting messed up, I'm gonna let somebody else mess it up before I'm gonna mess me up. Because I can't live with that. Like, dang, I messed my tape line up. Nope, my barber messed me up. I'm having somebody to blame.
You in that?
No cap. But we appreciate that, man. Thank you for that embarrassing moment. It's good to know that players mess up all the time, man.
All the time, man.
Players, every dog has his day, and your day was a while ago, but you cut that.
Will not do that no more.
That's what's up, man. Cool, man. So what we got next, man, is what we gonna do. We always do something new. It's called Hot Picks. All right. So I got 4 questions for you. Quick, easy questions. We just want to know your idea. Give us your take on the questions, and that'll be it, man. So you ready for the first one?
Let's throw it.
All right, listen. What is your favorite verse? All-time favorite verse? Something that you like, a line that you, when you hear it, you be like, God dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just never gets old.
I ain't gonna sit here live, man. Like DJ Yola, Ain't Gonna Let Up is one of my favorite songs. If he came to like rapping that toe for toe, word for word, ad lib for ad lib, that, and I just like how the second verse started off. He's like, I just don't give. Like when he played it, I'm like, all right, I'm with you on that. Like, all right, let's go. Like that's me in my heart. I really fool. That verse, every time I hear it, it does something in my heart.
It does something in my heart. It's a spiritual to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't give. I like it. I like it. That'll turn you up real quick.
Yeah, that's a turn up song right there.
All right, cool. And then second question: How do you view success? Like, what does success look like to you? As far as like what's important, because I know a lot of people think that success is definitely monetary. To the most degree, like a lot of people see monetary as that's the pinnacle of success. But we all know, as we get older, that success looks different for everybody. So what does success look like for you?
Man, success, I guess, like is defined by like the effort that I put into something, but also like if I can see myself from a point A to point B. So anything that affords me a little bit more time to give back to things or to do things that I really want to do, at that point, I feel like I'm being successful.
Yeah.
That can transcend into almost any aspect of your life. So I would definitely say if I got the time if I find a way to do something that gives me more time, the feedback in the other parts of my life, at that point, I'm successful.
Yeah. And I feel like you got a unique perspective on what success looks like, just because some of the things that you've been through. So like when you talk about time, right? Time is something that obviously you can't get back. Sometimes you on borrowed time, really. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know how long you got, but you got this good amount of time. You got an amount of time that you placed on earth to accomplish or do whatever you here to do. But time is one of those things that you definitely don't want to take for granted. And like you said, that's a great view on success as far as like being able to, whatever time that you can get back to put towards your hobbies and what you love to do, to fulfill yourself, every single day is pretty dope. All right, cool. Number 3, favorite artist and why? This is about to be. I wanted to say, I feel like I know who your favorite artist is, and I don't even know. I'm just really, I'm really judging, but you tell me, and then I'll tell you who I thought.
You gonna look on my phone on this one? Sheesh.
But you
favorite
might
artist off rip.
You might throw me off though. I don't know.
Dang, that's a tough one. That's a real.
It's a tough one.
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah. Because all I do is digest music, man. Like I listen to music like crazy.
Give me a top 3 then. You and Elijah, man.
I ain't even gonna flex with you. Summer Walker is definitely in one of my tops, bro.
No,
definitely. I'm not saying like top lyrically or anything. I just fool with the vibe. Like it's real chill. It's real cool. So I could definitely I'll throw her in there.
Oh no.
I want to say Crip, but I can't say that he's one of my favorite. I just lyrically like how he flows over it and stays authentic to his own style of music.
Okay.
I think he came to uniqueness and individuality. He definitely does have that.
Yeah.
And I guess like piggybacking off of that, I would definitely have to throw like Pharrell in there. An amazing genius, like in a lot of different facets. I could, from beat making to how he goes over his music. Pharrell is one of a kind, man. Like he is his own person.
Yeah.
So I mean, off ripper, those will be. I know who my real top one is. I done
there it is. I knew he was gonna talk it in there.
Camp, bruh. Camp.
That's your number one.
That's my number one. I ain't gonna flex. Anything you put on Camp slide for me, I ain't gonna flex with you on that.
Camp slide, bro. That's
Camp. I ain't gonna lie.
Bro, Man, he's so underrated and
He's consistent.
undervalued, bro. Like,
Yeah, dude is consistent.
bro got some bangers, like
Yeah.
consistently bangers. They slide all the time. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like this last
yeah.
project he just did, slide. Like
Come on, man.
that was one of them ones. And then the I'm trying to think, what's the project before that with the guy? They got the girl.
Kids.
They got the
Yeah, Kids. They dropped the deluxe. Come on, tatted up and remixed that with Fable. That took us back. Come
Bro, the
on.
deluxe was crazy, man.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, I like that. I'm rocking with that. I'm rocking with that.
That
Hey,
first, man, you know.
Summer Walker threw me off. I was like, oh, I did not expect that. You know what I'm saying? But obviously,
Yeah,
I can see that you digest a lot of range of different music. So you had from Summer Walker, Big Crit, then obviously the K Count. I thought you would have said Kanye West, but I don't know. You're not a fan?
I mean, I fool with Kanye, but I can't. I'm not gonna sit here and flex on this and be like, yeah, I fool with his music and everything like that. Like he made good music. He's definitely creative, but I definitely wouldn't say that I'd be bumping when I first wake up.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. All right. Last question. What's the hardest thing about being an author?
But these are good questions.
Yeah, man. Listen, I might want to write a book one day.
Yeah, I would definitely say the hardest part about being an author is like trusting your concept and like trusting your voice. I would definitely say before I released both of my books, I spent a lot of time like understanding where I was spiritually to understand like what information I was giving out at the time. Mm-hmm. Because you want to be careful that when you're giving out information, it's not like, you're not angry about things. You want to make sure that you don't mix emotion and intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's like really tough because it's like you seeing what you're saying, and as I'm reading it, I'm reading my growth through life.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, this is really how you think. Whether you handle a situation like this for the moment, it's like this is where you see yourself at. And so as you continue to write and as you continue to like dive into it, you start trusting your voice more. And I think that's probably the hardest part about it, because when you share that information, it's like, like you believe it, like how do you relay that information to somebody else the way they can understand it, where it's unbiased and somebody can actually be able to receive it?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That's a mature response. Cause like when you said you got to make sure that you're in the right headspace. When a lot of authors do talk about their books, it's always reflective. Like how can we reflect, like obviously where we were at this particular moment, like the bad, good, bad, ugly, whatever the case may have. Where were we in this headspace? But then also, what did that teach us, and how did that, what we went through then, interact or affect the course of the journey, the end goal. So it's like a lot of reflection and a lot of deep process on to be able to conjure up those emotions that may have happened years ago, months ago, whatever the case may be, but to remember how you felt in that particular moment and then say, all right, this is how it kind of applies. So, was it hard for you to, sit down and be unbiased and just be as open as possible? Because, when you're writing a book, you really, it's a diary, you know what I'm saying? Like it could, really? it's gonna go out to as many people that want to read it and look at it. So it's like, was it hard to do that? Did you understand what you were about to do as far as like putting that out?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be like 1,000 with you on this. Like one of the things that I realized, so each of the books were done a year before their time, essentially. So a lot of these came from writings of things that I just naturally was like starting to journal, and like in the mornings or late at night, if I can't sleep, I'm up writing. And kind of the lessons that I was learning, or, whenever I, asked God to speak to me in those moments about like what I'm supposed to learn or whatever he's trying to reveal to me, I'd write those things down. And through that, how I looked at it was, I said, like, in a sense, these all could really be Facebook posts. Like being real with you, all these could be long drawn out Facebook posts, or all these could be blogs. But I said a collection of these together are chapters now for a book. Yeah. And essentially, like, you could sell a book. Like, this is valuable information. Like, why drop the free game? Like, there are other ways to drop the free game and stuff like that. So I would definitely say that through the accumulation of like just like the notes and the lessons and putting myself in the air to spiritually ahead of things to be able to one, receive it, process it, and then write it down. It was also like a learning moment of like, okay, what is the best way for people to receive this? Like, yeah, I can put this on Facebook, but I don't think that people are gonna receive the message the same through Facebook versus a tangible asset like a book.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. I mean, that's a lot of a deep thought process when you think about, you know, what you want it to actually mean, what you want it to do. Me, I probably would have never, like, you know, as I'm starting to mature a little bit more now, I start to try to think things through. But in the beginning, like, you know, if I wanted to, you know, drop a book or something, it's the thought process and what I want it to be is not going to be the same. It would have been a very emotional book of like, this is what happened, like, this is how I felt. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not healed, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not your good, you know, your typical book. This is a lot of hate right here. You know what I'm saying? So
it's off my chest.
Yeah, let me just get this off. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I shouldn't have wrote a book, but y'all gonna get this work anyway. Word. But that's
honest.
That's what's up, man. All right, so cool. So we're gonna hop right into it. Trevor, I always ask, what did you want to be, you know, as far as when you were growing up, you know, in your mind, what did you want to be growing up? And the only reason why I ask this question to everybody is because I want the viewers and listeners to understand that some people started out with this idea, and then through the course of time, they went through all of this to get to here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be a straight beeline to what you actually want to be, and things also change. I do feel like it's a bad, in America, like the system, it's a bad concept of asking 18, 19-year-olds to know what they want to do at that particular age when you really don't even know yourself yet. You don't know your body. You don't know how you respond to certain, you know, authority, you know, management. You know, you don't know if you got, like, you know, it's important to know that, am I a morning person, or do I have organizational skills? You know, am I good with conflict? That type of stuff. You know, you got to know some of that type of stuff before you get into certain professions. But what did you want to be growing up?
Man, growing up, I thought I wanted to be a teacher. You know, like, that's really what I wanted to do. So me and my sister used to like play school in our rooms. I think it was my mom's way to get us to like study a little bit more. Mm-hmm. She was like, go in the room and read a book and tell us, you know, like what you learned and stuff. So we would put a little flashlight on the dresser, put laminated paper on the wall, act like we had kids, and sit in each other's classroom. And then over time, I was like, well, maybe I wanted to do law. I was like, maybe I wanted to study like being a lawyer and defend people. It was always like something connected to people at some point. High school came around, and, you know, we about to go out to college and stuff like that. I thought I wanted to do engineering. Mm-hmm. I took calculus, AP class, and as we got deeper into the math, I just like, okay, this ain't it. Mm-hmm. And so I asked my teacher, I said, anything that only requires 1 year of calculus? She said, yeah, accounting or business. And I said, all right, so that's what I'm doing. So I just changed. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. Word. So I stuck with accounting and got to college. I failed my accounting test, and I just like, this ain't it. All right, cool. I need to find something else. All right, so finance and GSCOM it is. Like, let's learn supply chain management. Let's understand, you know, psychology. And then over time, it got me to, you know, like where I am now is doing like solution architect and then working with Prodigy and stuff. But to your point, is like, I was too young to even know what I wanted to do. I just knew what was in front of me, and that was all I was exposed to. But through the opportunities and just like me expanding my mindset and stuff like that and doing research and figuring out for myself, I was like, okay, I started seeing qualities of things that I actually want to do that draw me. And I started looking for jobs that had those qualities.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. You hit on some good stuff as far as like, obviously we went through a couple of failures. You know, we changed direction. We was like, all right, you know, I'm only taking one accounting class. Okay. Failed the accounting class. Okay, cool. You know, I'm gonna find something else. You know what I'm saying? Not to be funny or anything, but just understanding like you went through that, and then also you spoke about exposure. You know what I'm saying? That was the only thing that I was exposed to. Mm-hmm. You know, exposure leads to expansion. The more you expose people to different things or what they can do, right? So one of the key goals of the podcast, exposure, having different people. You know what I'm saying? Whether you can see yourself physically in that person, whether you can see yourself mentally in that person, whether you can see the intangibles as far as like, he's a super highly motivated guy. He's energetic. You know, he's very mellow, calm. He's very, he thinks, he's analytical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when people can see that, like, oh, that kind of resembles me. Now they can be like, what does he do? What does that person do? And they can tap in. So you did touch on a lot of different things, but as you went through, obviously wanting to be a teacher first, that changed. Then going to getting to college and talking about accounting or the different classes that you didn't like. How did you handle those failures? Was it more of an upset, or was it more like, all right, cool, I failed, let me find something different? You know what I'm saying? Because some people don't take failure the same. They don't look at it the same. Some people might go back in and try it again. You know what I'm saying? Because like, this is what I really want to do. But it took you, you failed, once. Like, okay, let me do something different. How did you view your failures at that moment in time? And then, did you ever think about, maybe I should stick it out and figure out if I can make it happen?
That's a really good question, man. I would definitely say, like, being honest with it, is that throughout the phase, I definitely was discouraged. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm an hour and a half away from home. I already moved out my mom and daddy house. Like, I know that, I'm not trying to go back. Like, whether they're gonna have me back or not, like, I'm not trying. Like, okay, so at this point, it is the matter of, like, what is the goal here?
Yep.
The goal for me was that I wanted to get out in 4 years. Like, I would have been cool if it took longer, and it's okay if it does. But I know for me, it was like, okay, I didn't want to do accounting, but I wanted to be out in 4 years. Like, I also didn't like school. I was like, I'm not going to be doing this stuff forever. Like, the quickest way out of here is going to give me my happiness back. Word. So let's figure out what you want to do. So that I would definitely say that in that moment of being lost and just not having direction, that's when I started having conversation. And I think that's something that still helps me up to this day, of like being able to converse or have like conversations like these, that in certain pockets of my life where I'm not necessarily 100% sure on, conversations like these that kind of tell me where my head at, and then also tell me what I'm looking for to be able to move forward into something. So out of that, I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? You want something with capital and money, and you want to be able to work with that. Like, okay, so finance is another option. Try that. And so it was a matter of, if I tried this, I had to take it seriously. I think that just of how, like, my grandparents would tell me, like, in a sense, like, you can slow down life going, spank you in the behind, and make you slow down, to a degree, which is old school, honest truth.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like life is spanking you in the behind yet again to figure out, like, what do you want to do? But also it revealed to me, like, you don't take your education seriously. Like, yeah, you might be putting in the work ethic, or you thought that was enough, but certain things in your life is going to require a little bit more out of you. And when you thought you was giving enough, that ain't enough for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, okay, you got a decision to make. Like, you can buckle down and actually, like, get to work on it and get focused and tune in and start becoming a little more grounded in yourself and see a different side of you. Or are you going to just, like, sit there and wallow in misery and just complain about the fact that this is hard? Like, it's always going to be hard.
Yeah.
You got the tools to get through it.
Yeah, that's cool. Where did you, and I think what you talked about now, that concept of putting your mind to something, or really, you think you working hard, but you really not working hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because your mind is in so many other different places. Like, while you're in school, like, you got so many distractions that come. You can have parties. It could be, your relationships. It could be, family stuff back home. Like, you just got so many different things that can deteriorate you or distract you from, obviously school. But, you feel like you putting in the time, you studying, looking over your notes, but you're not really effectively studying or looking. You got the tutoring, but you're not really going to tutoring. You're like, I can study on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't really trying to put in more time than what I have to.
Correct.
And learning. But I think that is, sometimes I think that people have to learn that. We have to learn to really buckle down. And some people got it naturally. Some people have to learn it. Some people never get it. So it's just like, how did you, obviously through you, it was more through self-reflection on how you were able to kind of like trigger that and be like, all right, cool. Like, come on, Trevor. Like, we got to buckle down, really take it serious. What advice can you give people to say, how can they, does being serious come with something like, I really want to do this, like, I love this? Or can you turn the switch on and be like, I'm going to be serious just so I can get through it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you can do both, but it's way more harder when you force yourself into doing it because, and trying to like something. You know what I mean?
Straight up, man. Like, and you hitting it perfectly. That really and truly, if you're not connected to it, just like if you're not connected to your work, if you're not connected to the things you doing in life, like, what is the true meaning behind what you really doing? Like, where do you really wake up in the morning and say, I can pick up where I left off and stuff like that? So for people that, like, I guess even for me talking to myself, or even now, like, taking things seriously and trying to, develop and become, it's the matter of like, can I see myself through this moment? And it's the matter that I look at things, not saying like so temporary, but if I can do this for a season, I'm sowing a seed that's gonna bear fruit that I can eat. Like, and not only if I sow this thing correctly, and I really if I really nurture it, in the way that I nurture other things, because I see where I nurture the entertainment and the foolishness and other things like that, my fun side, like you've nurtured that before, so you can do that in a serious matter when it comes to your life and your business and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's the matter of, do I want to, like what's going on in my life? Does it allow me to, does this add value to me at the time? Does it, not add value to me? And if I do this, like, is this even worth what I'm going after? Like, is me doing this for 5 months worth me eating just for one day, or will me doing this for 5 months be something I can see for 5 years? You have to reason and bargain with yourself, just like you bargain with everybody else.
Yeah.
You got to bargain with yourself every day to motivate yourself to stick to these certain things and relearn yourself as you go through it.
Yeah. Man.
2 p.m. a day is different from what this time now, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a totally different person because I've been growing throughout life.
Man, that's crazy. And I think we in a crazy part, like a crazy moment in time, as far as like, obviously there's a lot of businesses popping up, small businesses, people wanting to be, get into the entrepreneurship world, which I think is dope. I also think you have to be realistic in what you're actually getting into, right? We talk about those attributes. We talk about the mentality, you know what I'm saying? Being an entrepreneur is not for, I think this hot right now, but I'm tired, so I'm gonna take a break. Being an entrepreneur, conjuring up your own business and idea, you have to be dedicated to it. Like, I think about this podcast, I'm like, it's crazy to me that I even been doing this for 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I first started, I did 10 episodes in a matter of maybe a week, 2 weeks, and then I dropped it all at once. And then I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna come back to it when I feel like it, when I had something to gain. But it's like, now it's like I'm in a space where I really want this to pop. I really want to be able to interact, be able to impact the culture. It may not be, who knows, man? It may not be billboards. It may not be, on some Breakfast Club type stuff. But the community of people that I know, and the community of people that other people know, I wanted to be able to impact them and be able to help them, but you got to stay dedicated to it. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay, consistent. You got to stay, on it. And that's one of the things that we're doing this podcast that I've learned is like, I've never really been disciplined enough to stick with something for a long period of time. Let's just be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, we get to a point where it's like, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take this break, which you need to take breaks, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's just like, how bad did you want it? Because then those breaks turn into weeks, then it turns into months, because we're not mentally trained to say, all right, I'm gonna take this day, 2 days, whatever the case, and then let's hop back into it. But I wanna ask you, like, have you ever been in a situation, or have you been, or trying now to be super disciplined and like trying to get a project off the ground, or being disciplined in like your work versus, right now social media and memes will tell you, you make sure you're taking time for your leisure. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's excuses all over the place. And people really buy into that. But I really don't think that's the recipe. You know what I'm saying? I think obviously, you can make it work, but I think just true, like, I just ask myself all the time, like, when have you ever been disciplined besides football? You know what I mean? Because that's what you had to do. Like, you was on the schedule, but just on your own, your willpower, saying like, nah, this is what I'm doing. When have you ever been disciplined? And to be honest, this is probably the only time I've ever really been disciplined. So, can you expound on that or relate?
Yeah, 1,000%. First, like, of all respect of how you have been approaching to, like how you said you dropped a few episodes and then you came back and did something else. Like you decided to look at it a different way. And even like watching the podcast, like you seeing your rebranding and the testing and gauging the audience, like that is a part of the process. And that's what people don't want to do. Like they just wanted to hit, make the money, make it stick. And honestly, like it comes from knowing yourself within. So I guess like for me, even it goes down to like having fun and stuff like that. So people look at it and they're like, dang, you never take a break, or you always working, or you always doing this. But I don't think what people realize, and I had this explain this to one of my close friends, I was saying like when I switch gears of projects, that is me taking a break.
Yeah.
So when I had enough of photography, I want to switch to videos. I had enough of that. I'm ready to go back to the music. All right, I did enough of that. Let me work on some client websites. Like, did enough of that. I'm not about to do nothing. Like, y'all ain't about to get nothing. I ain't going to call you in the first place. You know what I mean? Like it comes with the reason for why you're doing. Like, I'm not, to your point, we're not doing this for billboards, for everybody to pat you on the back and stuff like that. That comes from within. And as long as I do that, I'm always on God's timetable, on my own timetable, about how I should be moving this thing. One of the things that you said too was like saying how you dropped like all your videos at one time and like you did those in a short span of months. That was something that I used to do. I used to make work and drop it, make work and drop it. Then the strategy that I had, I think back in 2017, I took a couple months off for like a year. Typically in the fall is when I'm like, all right, we ain't doing nothing. Like, we just gonna cool out with it and enjoy life. But my approach was while you're doing that, you can build inventory and pace yourself to drop it through the year. So everybody, it's the art of illusion. Like it looks like you're working, but I'm in my bed sleeping. I'm tired. I'm tired. I got work in the morning. What you mean?
Word. That's true, man.
Pace is a big thing, and I think a lot of people don't factor in the pace and stuff. So like, yeah, we get into content and different things like that, which is nice. Or like you might have like a large audience and stuff like that, but does your work really have meaning? Like at the same time, are you pacing yourself to really make it matter in the long run and making sure that it connects to something and other things that you're doing? Like, what is the real meaning behind the stuff that you do other than it just being a project for somebody else? Like, this stuff should have more meaning because life is meaningful. People are looking for meaning and ways to connect with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. Dang, we got deep for real. That's we got deep for real. I always think about that, man. Like I've tried so many different things to try to be successful, to be able to create income and just think outside the box. Like that's one thing I hope everybody does is just try as many things as possible. Even if you fall on your face, you act a fool, people talk about you, but at least you had enough courage to say, I tried it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't for me. At least that's what you could say versus, you got people that judge you for even trying. Like, why are you doing that? Like, bro, you tripping? Like, you know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna never work. Well, with your mindset, of course, it would never work. But you gotta try different things. And I think that's one of the most important things. And I think I was talking to somebody else, the time factor. You know what I'm saying? True. Like, it's an instant gratification world, and we just got to take the time off things and really do stuff to enjoy it, versus like the quick buck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely, man.
A lot of people do stuff for like they see other people doing it, like, oh, it's a lot of money in that. Let me see if I can turn myself up with that. But how long does that really last? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long?
And it works for them. Like they broke that mold. They set the standard of what that looks like for them. Just to the point, like I'm not the only one that takes photography. Like you're not the only one who have a podcast. Of course. Like this is the only way for us to stream content or view music and stuff like that. Just like Apple, Spotify, Tidal. Yep. There's different ways because it grabs those little those small qualities or traits of like those apps and different things. Those trigger certain audiences because of what their preference is. Like like that's the simple as somebody saying they want a burger with cheese versus without one. You know what I mean? They go to the person that got what they want. Right. And so out of that, whatever you do, just fit your arena, like fit your audience. And also like not just like fitting them, but like making them grow with you. So it's okay to sift out the circle. It's okay to grow. And it's okay to grow without it being. I feel like a lot of stuff you see too is like, oh, like bump them, it can't come with you, this and that. But it's like, yo, it like you taught somebody something for the moment and then you keep going. Like the point is a journey. Like I'm not supposed to be here forever.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, cool, man, Trevor. So listen, we talked about what you wanted to be, obviously growing up, how we got to where you are now as far as like graduating. But obviously we know you're a solutions architect. What how did you land in this role? And then also, if you could tell us like what do you do on a day-to-day basis as far as what your job entails, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. So basically the role of a solution architect, we basically manage apps. So we create like apps that basically help people in the organization do their job. Whether it's like people managing teams, people solving problems, people being able to observe other teams and be able to learn from them. And then by that being like a way to manage your day or the inventory of different things like that, we kind of build a code, build a database, be able to collect that information and relay that to other team leaders so that they can be able to know how to scale their departments and like manage their teams and stuff like that based on, like you might be doing something now, like, so I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
Somebody's able to do that, or they want to understand like, well, how do you feel about your team or different things like that? So we build apps, collect data, related information to leadership so they can make decisions.
Got you. But that's crazy. When I hear solutions architect, I don't think of that. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking like more dealing with architectural stuff as far as like,
Got you.
I don't know why I thought, but that's crazy. Okay.
I never heard either till now. Shoot, I ain't gonna lie.
Dang. Okay. So solutions architect. Are you enjoying it? Are you liking it? What does like what does a morning to evening look like as far as like what you do? You know what I'm saying? Like what does your day kind of consist of?
Every day can look a little different. Some days is like stacked with meetings. There's other days where you're like building. So I'm trying to like research and understand like, can this do what I want it to do? So it's a lot of testing and learning.
Gotcha.
Kind of skin trace I take. And my job is like kind of what I apply in my personal life. Like, can I do this?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Is it feasible? Do people want it? Is this something that can really help out somebody or serve others? Like, what impact does it make? There's other days where it's not as like intense, and so like you're able to troubleshoot a little bit more. So somebody might be having an issue like, I guess like troubleshooting in terms of like apps and stuff like that. You might think that by me putting this green button at the bottom, everybody know that this means submit, but maybe I need to actually add like text that says click here to submit and trying to make things more intuitive. So like it's being able to learn like how people are learning and information that you're relaying and what somebody is actually receiving off of that.
Yeah. Okay. Dope. And then how did you land the role? Because I mean, obviously you're dealing with more on the tech side of things, with apps and things of that nature. But what does somebody like if I wanted to be a solutions architect, how would I get into that role? Like, do I need a certain specific background? Do they teach me everything on the spot? You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you hear stuff like that, when people think about tech and they, you start talking about tech, they think, oh, I need to have this type of background. I need to be, you talk about coding. I need to know about coding. But is that does that play a big factor, or is it more or less like they're gonna teach you, everything you kind of need to know on the job?
You learn, I think in any job, like they'll teach you, the things that you need to know, like because everybody operates differently.
Right.
Specifically for my role, originally, to be honest with you, I started out just helping people set up accounts. So helping people set up accounts, manage money and finances. Then I moved to the side of being able to fix the errors that I was basically making. So after I set up your account, there's an error, moved to the department where I ended up fixing that. Provided like data and statistics for leadership, got moved to another role where I started doing like data management and pulling like data queries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then moved to another role where what did I do in that role? I moved to another role where we end up going to like other departments and basically trying to find areas for them to like save money. So how can we make your process more efficient based on what people tell us and what they're doing? Then in turn, that came on side of like the app. So as far as like coding and stuff like that, not really a lot of coding experience, but I was just like learning it along the way because I deviated from finance in a sense.
Yeah.
But with that, I would definitely say it's like resources out there, like Data Camp, I definitely believe is one of them.
Okay.
For anybody looking to like code or just like learn anything like technical acumen of that sort. And then also I believe Code Academy is another one.
Okay.
And instead of like personally, I feel as though, you know, because I was doing that for my job, I was able to see if I could get licenses and stuff like that, which ended up working out because my goal was, like I said, I was not trying to go back to school.
Yeah.
Like,
That school's dead. School's
enrollment,
dead.
no, you know, and not trying to do it. Hey, I'm good on the tuition, but like y'all can have that.
For sure.
But I said if I can learn my role like in my day to day, and then also feel like I was driving an impact or it being connected to people for a purpose, that's just something I want to do. And you know, thankfully, I was able to find that route to do it, man.
Okay, word. I mean, I that's a dope, experience. Now, obviously, going from role to role, was going from role to role a forced action, or was it more you just trying to, um, level up or try different arenas within your company? Just because, obviously,
Yeah,
security is one of the biggest things now. Where the pandemic taught us that nothing is really secure. If you didn't
true.
know that before, you know what I'm saying. Nothing's a job security is not a real thing. You know what I'm saying. It's just the idea, that they can try to put in your mind and make you feel comfortable, but it's not a real thing because
That's real.
they'll let you go any minute.
E-
So,
True.
but going from role to role, was that something that they forced you, or as far as like, or you wanted to go try these different things?
Yeah, I was ready to move forward. So
Okay.
I would definitely say that growing up, I didn't hear about a lot of people who started like in one position and started moving around.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like a scary thing for me. Like, I'm not even gonna say here a lot. Like when I got my first promotion, I was like kind of shocked that it was happening because I'm like, I've never seen this really happen. Like, it's too good to be true, or whatever the
Yeah.
case is. But then you start trusting the process, and I started being more strategic and intentional about my jumps.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, after I learned this for a year, or these are the things that I wanted to do, towards the end, I always picked up something that made the task a little bit harder, that proved that I could handle something for the next role.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just jump, just for the money, or, jump just because, like, okay, I'm 27, I should be doing this at this time, because other people, like, nah, if my life wasn't, like, conducive to that work environment, or if it wasn't ready for that, I felt like I had enough, like, I could pace myself yet again in the workforce to figure out, okay, what do I want to do and how do all these things connect? The reason why I made those jumps, I was like, okay, I can help people, set up their accounts, so I understand frontline, like what people are doing on their day to day. And then as I'm doing that, I'm understanding what management cares about. And then now I'm able to put myself in a role that I can be able to relate to both sides of it.
Yeah.
And so these are how your workers are feeling, but I also understand this is what we're trying to manage. This is the happy ground, or the medium, or this is what you can do with that information to motivate them. So that way your department or like your team can be much more efficient at their day-to-day operations.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I think, a lot of times we just take jobs or do jobs just to do them. Whether, most of the time we'll take it because, like, it's a little pay raise with it. Like, oh, yeah, for sure, let me get that money. But, I mean, you are very much more sitting and talking with you. You more analytical, more kind of, you have a game plan or a process, a game plan or idea where you're trying to go. And it's like you're using those promotions or using opportunities to say, how does this opportunity help me to get to my end goal, to be able to help me? Like, who taught you that, bro? Like, where'd you learn that, that thought process, or like just who really, put you on game like that?
Man, I had like some amazing mentors, and I mean too many to name,
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And it wasn't necessarily that they taught me like that specific thing, but I think that one thing that I noticed, like, life just taught me it.
Yeah.
Because what I realized is, like, I mean, you come from like small towns and country and stuff like that. Like, at the same time, like, people praise like the luxury cars and to have these things, but also at the same time, it becomes like a breaking point personally, where I'm just like, am I working to afford a lifestyle? And that's what I didn't want to do. I was like, I don't want to have to wake up early in the morning to go to work just because I have to pay these things off. Like, honestly, I'm only paying it off because I wanted these things, like, because nobody else is doing it for me but me. So like, I make a decision on that. So if I can cut my liabilities, or if I can, live a comfortable enough life, if I can live a comfortable enough lifestyle, within this range and stuff like that, anything extra that I get can go to savings. Anything extra I can get to go to additional resources. And that's when you start building capital. That's when you start building equity. That's when you start being able to build down talents in a team, of people that you could really like rely on each other for. Like, imagine if you building me up is me now a part of your team, bro. And then when you need something, now you're able to have something like that for free of what you used to have to pay for. That's saving you to yet again put your time somewhere else and put your money and capital somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think that once you shift that mindset, that's when it's like, okay, I'm not going to be doing this until I'm 50, to be honest with you. Like, at some point, all this stuff going to cut. You know, it's nice and I'm going to have fun with it for right now. But realistically, I don't want to do this forever. Right. You know, call it lazy, call it what it is. But realistically, I don't want to be paying on stuff for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's dope. But then it's also key to note that you going hard in your, you know, in your job as well too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a thing where people feel like you can't do both. Like, you can't go hard in like your, you know, your 9 to 5 or your main thing, right? Because at the end of the day, like, the job is the main thing. So we got to keep the main thing the main thing. Definitely. But, you know, we also have aspirations and goals, and where our heart could be torn in 2 different directions. As far as like, my heart is really in this, but I'm gonna use this to fuel this. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at that same time, you know, it's just kind of like, and that's one of the fights that I struggle with, as far as like, how do I continue to stay motivated in the main thing, but then also putting my blood, sweat, and tears in this right here? Because sometimes I feel like I just want a job where I can just pull up and, you know, I'm just doing my job. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get paid good money to do it. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like that doesn't, you know, I haven't found that job that is giving me the opportunity to do that, because right now it's more like I'm going hard 100% in my job to maintain everything, like obviously, you know, my lifestyle, and then also this as well. So you can do both, you know, for people that's watching. Like, I feel like you just got to have that balance and be smart with your money, man. That's all it comes down with.
And intentional with your time.
Yeah, that too.
Like, where do I know I want to give my time to? Like, you know, I know when I get off, I want to take a nap. Like, and that nap, you know, fuels me to be able to do other stuff later and stuff like that. So, and I think also too, like, a big learning lesson of it, people think like, even with the consistency of it, is you do this one thing forever. And it's like, now, like, my schedule, week 1, I guess, like, even if you break up the months into weeks, like, week 1 might look different than week 2. And what if I practice like week 1, or like, let's say I read every single night for 30 minutes on Tuesdays, the first week of the month. The first Tuesday of every month. Every first Tuesday every month, I know I'm dedicating that to reading. I'm putting a 1% deposit in that the first Tuesday every month for 30 minutes. Yeah. Whether I do that for the rest of the month or not, I know I dedicated at least 30 minutes to it. I promise you that practice is going to transcend somewhere else.
Compound effect.
Yeah, that's balance.
Yeah, that compound effect is real. So cool, man. Trevor, man, we coming to the end of the conversation, man. We've been chopping it up almost. To be honest, I'm almost at an hour, and it's crazy to think about it. Like, you know, the time really be flying, man. But I did want to hit on, you know, one thing before we go, and I think is relatable across everybody. Somebody's dealt with it. Somebody's, you know, family members have seen other people deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, different things. But people that don't know, right? You fought cancer, you know, beat cancer, and I feel like I want to say that experience has helped you transcend to the person that you are now, as far as time. You know, understanding what time really means, the value of time, the value of taking your time and doing things and really enjoying it, being intentional with what you're doing. You know, would you say that experience, or that, you know, going through that has changed your mindset? You know, because were you the same way before having this experience? You know what I'm saying? I do want to ask that question, but then also talk to me about, you know, what type of cancer it was, and just the experience of just battling that and overcoming it as well.
Yeah, so being straightforward, man, like, it was stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, so it's a rare cancer. Even in trying to understand like what it is or how I got it or different things like that, no true reasoning. It just happens to you know, specifically young Black males between our age group. So kind of uncommon and by choice, but of course I call it God's plan of how it happened. And out of there is 4 stages altogether. Caught mine at the 3rd. Last one would have overtaken my lungs, heart, major organs. It would have knocked me out. Prior to like 6 years, 5 years beforehand, I was trying to figure out like what's up with my health this whole time, and, you know, still grinding it, just days in and days out. I would definitely say like the whole experience changed my life, man. Like, not just it molded my mind and like solidified it even further that, okay, you ain't tripping. Like, I'm not gonna flip up on like, bro, you crazy for how you thinking, or like, why you acting like this about life? But it was like, now, like, I knew that something wasn't right. And I would definitely say, like, for anybody, always advocate for yourself, advocate for your health. Like, that was another part of me being consistent. But I would say, like, even going through that process, it definitely taught me to slow down. And it showed me, like, how, like, I understand that it's borrowed time, but also at the same time, like, it's promised time. So, like,
explain
in that I was waiting for healing, and I'm like, okay, like, I got to get to, you know, this XYZ date or whatever. Like, this date equals my healing.
Yeah.
And so now I got to practice, like, not just having faith, but how do my faith endure through that? Like, how do I keep myself motivated? Like, there are people around you that are thinking the worst and stuff. It's like, I don't have time for that. Yeah. And I'm cool. I get it. I feel you, but we ain't even about to do that. And so, I, you know, like, it solidified me as a person. And it also, like, exposed a different side of me to others. But it also exposed, like,
you saw how tough you were.
Yeah, like, at this point, what it do? You know, like, hey, like, yo, like, what's up? You know, and not to like fake it or anything like that, but it just shows you, like, I can do this if I wanted to. I got the mindset, and like all the stuff. I'll be real with you, bro. Like, probably the most important piece. I was just talking to my mom about this like a couple days ago. The most important piece of it was that it showed me that all the readings I was doing, all the preparation I was doing was for that moment. And so it didn't, like, although I was hating like the experiences and the life and all these different things, it made me so much appreciative of the things I went through, because that molded my mindset and my character to go through that moment. I could have gone through that moment and been pissed off with the world, cussing people out, acting a plumb fool. But out of that, it's like, it's a bigger purpose out of this, and that's going to dictate your blessing. And I'm not about to mess up this covenant right now, because I already got the promise. I got promise time. I'm going to get there. I just got to get there.
That's crazy, bro. Like, I can't imagine, like, I can't imagine. I'm sorry. I can't imagine, you know, what going through that feels like, or just, you know, what your mind goes through on a day-to-day basis. Understanding that, you know, when you hear cancer, everybody automatically, oh no, you know what I'm saying? But then there's cancers where obviously, you know, it can go left, but you can fight to go right. You know what I'm saying? You can get your time back, you can get your life back, if, you know, as long as you mentally strong here and you wake up every day saying, like, all right, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get after it. But what were some of the things that, you know, you talked about advocating for your health, like, and you said, I know I wasn't tripping. Like, what were some things that were happening? You know, what were some signs that, you know, that you were dealing with, but you didn't know that it was attached to, you know, this form of cancer, or this was the reason? You know what I'm saying? Like, this, so people, like, if they feel some type of way, they know.
And like, I definitely worked through being able to talk about it. Like, one part of it is like, dang, I ain't thought this would be my talk track to life, but it's like, thank God you got a talk track to life. You feel me? So out of that, it was like, I wouldn't sleep like right at night. Like, it was points in my life where I was only thriving off like 2-3 hours of sleep a night, or in a day span or whatnot. Or so, like, I'm trying to rest and it's uneasy, or like, I typically dream, but I'm not like dreaming as intense or anything like that, which is telling me my sleep is thrown off. So it's like, you adjusting to not only like your cancerous body, but you're also adjusting to like your recovered body, which is also another struggle. Like, that's a whole nother process. But I definitely say, like, the fevers, appetite wise, like, it got to the point I wasn't holding down water. Like, and so they're thinking like all these other things, like, this could be it. I'm like, ain't no way in the world this could be it. Like, you know, like, I had a crazy cough. Like, I wouldn't even be able to talk this whole hour with you without coughing, like, ridiculously, bro. And that's related to the cancer, like, which is crazy. Like, so even to be able to have breath like this and have an appetite now, or like just bodily functions and stuff like that, it was like, I was extremely exhausted, fatigued, tired, like, it wasn't right. And so it's like, I'm always just trying to show up in the day, you know, despite what's going on. And a lot of people, I'll be real with you, like, even people at the time, like, in my life didn't necessarily believe, you know, like, what I was going through, or that something was wrong, and different things like that. And at that point, it was like becoming discouraging, because, like I said, you think you're tripping at this point, like, you're losing people, like, things are happening in your life and you don't really fool with that. But at the same token, it's like, I know something ain't right. And out of pushing and getting, I think like 4 or 5 different opinions, I finally got my answer and I finally got my healing. And shoot, like my cousin tell me, shoot, if you was doing all this beforehand, I'm ready to see what you. And I'm like, I'm ready to pop off.
Yeah, then, bro, that's
I'm ready to do this.
Bro, that's cool, bro. You're an inspiration for sure, dog. Like, just you know what I'm saying, like, just I didn't even know until like I saw the pictures. You know what I mean? Like, I know that might have been intentional, just because you don't, obviously all the extra energy that comes with people knowing all the time. But I didn't, I just didn't know until the wife told me, and I was like, dang, man, we met for Elijah's and them. You know what I'm saying? Like Elijah's and them proposal on the boat.
Yeah.
Then after that, like we met a couple of times after that, and I was just like, man, dude, man, solid. But who knew that, during that time, you were carrying, that cancer. But, now that we, at the tail end of the conversation, man, I appreciate you. How would you explain to people, if somebody's dealing with, cancer, or they know somebody that's dealing with cancer, somebody close to them, what's the best advice you can give them along that process, along that journey? How can they keep someone motivated? How can we, how what's a good perspective to, to really look at it?
Yeah, I definitely say like the biggest advice that I have for that is one, like definitely advocate for yourself, like on your health, like 1,000%, especially men and mental health, like being able to share that and talk about it with somebody and having those confidants is a big key. And then for people that's also dealing with like cancer, but also like any type of ailment, mental illness, whatever the case might be, any form of life, like just being there and like being patient with each other, like as you work through it, like I guess like even for my parents, like I'm trying to learn my new body and I'm trying to learn my needs at that time. Also, they're trying to figure out how to adjust their schedule to fit those needs, and so sometimes that can be a conflict because, they care, they want to do things and stuff. But also being patient with each other is the way that you get through, moments like that. Just be there for people. Show up for people and hold your word. Like if you're gonna be there, be there. Don't halfway do it. Show up 100% for that person and be intentional with it.
Yeah, boy, that's a test, bro. Not like no other, man. It'll test everybody. Your people that you close to. You probably, I don't know, maybe along the process, may a lot, lost people just because maybe you wasn't feeling the same, or they were just like, man, and sometimes people don't know how to really talk to somebody like that. They don't know how to articulate or to be able to relate. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if I had a homie that was going through that, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you dealing with something way worse than I am, and I'm like, I'm coming over here asking you about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wouldn't know. But I think, to be honest, I just feel like the best way is to treat people normally.
You know what I'm saying? You said it. Yeah, that's what I was, like, throughout that process, it's like you just want to be around people that treat you normal, that everything's going to be good and whatnot. So, perfectly said, bro.
Yeah, dope. Okay, then, for sure, man. Well, listen, dog. It's been good. It's been dope. I love the conversation, man. I hope you had fun. You had a good time?
Yeah, this is on point, bro.
Okay, cool. That's what we talking about. Oh, explain to us, last thing, I'm sorry. Explain to us about Prodigy. Where did the idea come from? What is Prodigy all about, for you?
Yeah, hey, another good question. I'm trying to keep that one short. I started Prodigy June 19th of 2016. I launched my first website.
Okay.
A lot of people was against me, like getting cameras and, investing money into it, but I'm so glad I did. Yeah. The way that I looked at Prodigy originally, it started as like a mentorship program. So with the mentorship program, we help our kids expose them similar to things that you're doing, ACT prep, college prep, conversations, life prep, and then also affording them the chance to be able to like visualize their ideas and stuff. So my thing with it at the time, back in 2016, I believe Black Lives Matter was like a big thing at the time, along with just like, that's when my exposure to life started kicking up a little bit. And instead of the media, painting a picture about who we are as Black men, about Black people, or whoever you are, really and truly. I looked at it as we can control our own narrative. Like there are great things about me that would never end up on my obituary.
Yeah.
There's great things about a person in their head that they're probably trying to, get the ideas, but they don't have the capital resources.
Sure.
So it always became about how do you provide opportunity for somebody else, and essentially what the tagline is be a creative outlet for people that are looking to innovate. So a creative outlet for innovators.
That's dope. I like that. So what we'll do is we'll attach like the link and everything to the website in the description. And just make sure that people, really tap in with you. And even if it's on a creative front, as far as like, I don't know if you're still doing like, pictures. I'm pretty sure you're still doing pictures and stuff like that. So if they need something, they can always tap in with you. So we can just keep everything funneling and just understanding that there's somebody that looks like us that does what we want. We don't always got to go outside to get what we want done. We can always tap inside, in-house, and get things done. So keep that funneling. But bro, thank you so much, man. Thank you, man. And then I just need some recommendations. So 1 or 2 people that you would recommend for the podcast that you think is super dope. People that I can reach out to and just see like, hey man, we need you on the podcast.
Yeah, I would definitely say reach out to she's a woman named Jasmine Campbell. I call it the Boss Campbell.
Okay.
So I think it's a perfect opportunity. Got a lot of energy, real creative, real business minded, great spirit. So Jasmine Campbell.
Okay, dope, man. If you could send me her IG phone number or email, however she likes to be contacted, that way I can contact her and just let her know, hey man, my boy Armand, he did the podcast, super dope. He gonna reach out to you. I recommended you. And then it'd be like a warm little handoff.
1,000, got you covered, boss. Appreciate you too.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro. We're going to have you on again. Don't you worry. We always got to get people back, man. I hope you had fun. But listen, this concludes another episode of Big Boss Talk, man. Y'all be easy. Trevor, hold it down, bro.
You too, boss. Be easy, dog.
All right, bro.